Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. In 2018, a Colorado funeral home was caught selling body parts of the deceased. Here's a look into the black market body trade, a multi-million-dollar industry. In 2018, a woman named Frederica Hancock was contacted by the FBI. They told her that the body parts, head, arms, legs, of her late husband had been sold by the funeral home without her consent. The problem was that her husband had been cremated a year earlier. This stuff happens beyond shady funeral homes, too. Each year, thousands of Americans donate their bodies to science. Unfortunately, many of these people are unwittingly contributing to an unregulated, and often sinister, national market. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to the story at hand. Speaking of hands, $175 will get you one. The illegal body broker market. Did you know that the black market for body parts is a multi-million-dollar industry? Did you know that for the sweet little price of $600, you can buy a human leg? You might say, gross, dude. Or, the morbidly curious among you might ask, how much does a whole body cost? Sort of brings a whole new meaning to the idiom, it costs an arm and a leg, am I right? See, body brokers are distinct from the organ and tissue transplant industry, which the U.S. government closely regulates. Selling hearts, kidneys and tendons for transplant is illegal. BTW, there is a large black market for organs as well. But we'll get to that another time. Unfortunately, no federal law governs the sale of cadavers or body parts for use in research or education. So it's basically a free-for-all. Almost anyone, regardless of expertise, can dissect and sell human body parts. These donated cadavers and body parts are used to train medical students, doctors, nurses, and dentists. Even paramedics use real human heads and torsos to practice implementing breathing tubes. 5 years ago, in a lawsuit against an Arizona body broker, which was later shut down, a price list was uncovered. Now that you're properly educated, let's get back to Frederica, a funeral home with an illegal secret. Frederica, a Colorado resident, signed a contract with Montrose Funeral Home to cremate her husband's body. She did not, however, consent to dismembering. And she's not the only one. Over 50 family members of deceased loved ones sued the family that operated the funeral home. They were, very correctly, claiming that they did not receive the real remains of their deceased relatives. The FBI investigated. Colorado regulators shut it down. According to one of the lawyers representing the families, the funeral homes are just trying to get those bodies free. And then they are going to chop them up themselves in parts and make money off the bodies. Yep. Pretty much. I wish this type of story was rare. But it's not. We found another one in Illinois. Let's drive over. The Chicago body broker ring. In 2015, a similar situation occurred in Chicago. Two businesses, a Schiller Park crematorium and the Rosemont office of the Biological Resource Center of Illinois, were busted by federal authorities. They were caught because the bodies in the warehouses were all set on ice rather than embalmed. Sort of a red flag for them being sold instead of cremated or buried. The businesses lied to donors, promising the bodies would not be sold. But it gets worse. Unsealed investigation documents noted that the businesses were masquerading diseased remains, infected with HIV, hepatitis, and others, as healthy. Why? so they could sell to hospitals and doctors in the US and overseas. Without warning. For medical training. Yikes. But at least they got caught. Unfortunately. There are likely many more out there. In 2017, Reuters identified 34 active body brokers across America. Of these, 25 were for-profit orgs and 9 were non-profit. Dive 6 feet underground. If you're eager for the full stories of these scummy black market body sellers. Well, the Mystery Nibbles team has your back. Here's an ABC News article and video on the Chicago ring. Here's an article detailing Frederica's story in Colorado. Here's the full Reuters write-up on the body broker firm industry. Also, I'm Andy. If you like stuff like this, my writing partner and I have a free weekly newsletter about mystery, crime and pop culture. We'd love to write it full-time, and the more of you reading, the likelier that becomes. Check us out. https://mysterynibbles.substack.com/. We also have a subreddit. Mystery Nibbles, come join the party. End of story. Next story. The Girl I Met in the Train. Part 8. Hi friends, hand waving. This the 8th part of the story. So if you haven't read the first parts, please do, so that the story would make sense. You can easily find the previous parts on my profile. Just click on my profile, J0HNWIKK, above the title. I hope you will read them hugging face. Note: you can call me John. My friend's name is Mike and her name is Remy. I am not giving the original names, but we can use these names. I woke up as one of the happiest people in the world that day. I was going to meet her again. My mind is filled with poetry. Poems about her. I never expected to meet her in the train. Then see her again in the church hall 1 year later. And then finally find her tuition class. It's like she was a chapter of my life. We were supposed to meet. I don't think it was a coincidence. I loved going to school. I should say it was my second home. I spent more than half the day in my school. After the class 1 come to my school playground to play with my friends, which included people older than me, younger than me, and also from my age. If there ever was a paradise on earth, for me it was my school. After playing, most of us sit in the front of the school and talk about our day. Joke about the things that's happening around us and have fun. That is the best part of the day for me. Friendships made in the playground lasts forever. Nowadays I don't see it much, and it's a shame. Most kids live in the virtual world, totally ignoring the real world. I was going to miss playing in the ground after school. Tuition was only 3 days a week, so it was not a big deal. Which also means I can only see her 3-4 times a week. Well, you don't get everything in life. We reached early to the class because our class finished earlier than her class. I was nervous but confident at the same time. Tuition class was at the terrace of our tuition teacher's home. I kept looking back to the stairs through which everyone came. After some time she came. I didn't know school uniforms would look this pretty on someone. She looked like an angel wearing a white shirt with a navy blue overcoat and a pant. Her ponytail was the cutest thing I have ever seen. Her friend sat down right next to me and she sat down just beside her. I wished they sat opposite to us so that we could face each other. Teacher started taking the class and gave us problems to try. During this time, her friend asked me whether my name was John. I was surprised. I was seeing her for the first time in my life. I asked her how she knew my name and whether we knew each other. She moved her head to the backside and pointed her finger at Remy. She was smiling. She was trying to hide her face and told me that she saw me in the church hall that day. She remembers my name because I had said my name before my presentation on stage. I told her immediately that we met before in a train. Her friend looked amazed. I couldn't believe I delivered a dialogue like that. I don't know. It just came to my head. She was smiling, and after a second of thought, she said she remembers. She quickly hid her face after that. She took cover in the side of her friend's face and started doing problems her shy smile was worth. More than anything for me. We didn't talk much after that. When the class was over, we all came down the stairs and went in opposite directions. She remembered me. My efforts didn't go to vain. I realized she had noticed me. I still remember that day. Her smile. Her face. Her words. I guess I will never forget. Will be continued. This is a true story, so please don't expect something filmy. Cold sweat smile. Thank you for reading. Your feedbacks are valuable. DM or comment. It doesn't matter. Give an upvote if you liked it. I will see you friends soon. Black Heart. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.